Cardi, insiders are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time.
In February 2018, Cardi B was secretly 4 months pregnant by her then husband, Offset. She went to a private OBGYN appointment in Beverly Hills. This appointment had been kept off the schedule to preserve her privacy. At the same time, there was a security guard working there by the name of Imani Ellis. And this security guard alleged that on that particular day, Cardi B scratched her face with a long fingernail, spat on her, and used racial slurs and physically assaulted her, claiming the whole incident was unprovoked. It was so bad that Imani Ellis said the scar that Cardi B left on her face required plastic surgery. But wait, there's more. Imani Ellis waited until 2020 to file a $24 million civil lawsuit case against Cardi B. This case alleges assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, among other claims. Fast forward! The trial finally took place in September 2025, including multiple witnesses like the receptionist, the doctor, and even Imani Ellis herself. Cardi B actually took the stand in her own defense. And then the outcome of the trial was read.
A, assault and battery. Answer, no. Section B, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Answer, no. Section C, negligence and contributory negligence. Answer, no. Section D, punitive damages. Answer, no.
In the civil case, you won't hear not guilty. And what you heard was not liable or not responsible, which is the equivalent of not being guilty. So Cardi B won big time. After Cardi B wins the case, she's coming out of the courtroom. And of course, she appears very pregnant, so she is struggling as she's walking down the steps. And all of a sudden, you hear this.
Yes, Cardi. What's the verdict? Hey, Cardi, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
You hear people saying, "We love you, Cardi B," which was great. Now, while some fans loved Cardi B, there was a person that had a very, very interesting question.
Cardi, insiders are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time. Do you foresee any paternity issues with Stefon Diggs?
Stop disrespecting me. Don't disrespect me. Cardi, how you feeling?
Cardi, your court look is amazing.
You're amazing, Cardi. I still love you, even though you just threw some stuff at
I
me.
don't care. You're disrespectful. Don't do that. Do you see women asking those type of questions to me?
No,
Women
ma'am.
asking those questions to me.
It's a legit
Why
question.
do you feel as a man you get to ask me those type of questions? Act like you have some manners. And your mama taught you, respect women.
Woo! Now you heard this particular reporter basically asking her about the paternity of the child. The man is saying, hey, Offset is saying that he might be the father, and then there's Stefon Diggs you're dealing with. So have you been dealing with both guys, and do you know which one is the actual father of your kid? Now, Cardi B took a lot of offense to this. And again, Cardi B picked up a pen and threw it at the reporter. It didn't hit the reporter, but threw it at the reporter. Now, this is interesting because Cardi B just got found guilty of not assaulting Imani Ellis, but she threw the pen right there in front of the whole world to see.
Got him!
So she lectures a guy, telling him like, hey, your mama taught you to respect women. Like, what kind of person are you? And this wasn't the only person to think like this.
And to the reporter that caught themselves trying to be messy with Cardi B, bringing up Offset, talking about do you foresee a problem with paternity? She should have threw a brick at your dumb ass. And she should have threw a brick at your ass. The fact that y'all feel so comfortable disrespecting people. Cardi B is not just a rapper. She's not just a famous person. She's not just a celebrity. She's a mother. She's a woman. You thought you was funny? Clearly, she don't mind going to court with people. Motherfucker, a bigger deal about her throwing the pen than the fact that this bitch asked her that question. And just like Cardi said, do you hear any of the women asking me questions like that?
So this particular lady is saying that Cardi B should have picked up and threw a brick. Like, what kind of person asks those kind of questions to a lady? It's not your business. Now, again, picking up a brick and throwing it at somebody for asking you a question just makes things worse. But I can understand where she's going with this. Like, as a lady, it's not your business to ask a woman who is the child's paternity. However, Cardi B is what we consider a public figure. And of course, people are in the media, a journalist, the paparazzi. It is their job to frustrate famous people like Cardi B and to get them to say silly things or to react to them in any kind of way. All right. Now, furthermore, why is this important? It is Cardi B's decision to come out publicly with Stefon Diggs, right? And this is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. You see, if Cardi B and Offset like quietly broke up and, and then she got pregnant, then okay, we may or may not know who the child is. But again, Cardi B talks about this stuff a lot. Like, she's one of the few artists, her and Nicki Minaj, they actively interact with their fan base, especially on X, on Twitter Spaces. And Cardi B talks about Offset. She talks about who she's sleeping with. She's talked about that at least in the past. She goes live on Instagram. So the knowledge that we hear about Cardi B with her personal life or her sex life is out there for the world to see. Not only that, you talk about this in your lyrics.
Damn.
I mean, your music is an everlasting revelation of what you think about sexually. You can say it's entertainment, but that's what comes out in your music. So, I mean, if you're mad about somebody asking you those questions, then, well, you are technically married to Offset and you've been dealing with Stefon Diggs and you've had a baby before, after you and Offset fell out. So it could make sense that you could do this again. So even though it's disrespectful to her, it's obvious that Cardi B has participated in behavior similar to this in the past. But then there's something else.
And this is not to slut shame Cardi. This is all about making good decisions. Because if that baby is Offset's or if that baby is Stefon Diggs, both are bad decisions. Both are big L's. Because why would you have a baby with someone you want to divorce and keep cheating on you? And why would you have a baby with Offset 2.0, who's no better or worse? Stefon Diggs is literally the same Offset. And I think Stefon Diggs literally had 2 babies last year with 2 different people.
The person is questioning Cardi B's bad decision making. Now, this is what this lady is saying, but also the journalist is also challenging that point. And a lot of women who make some Cardi B will also have a problem with the question, but it's hard to get around the fact that Cardi B, in fact, is a bad decision maker. Not only are you pregnant while you're married, you're pregnant by a man possibly who also has 2 other kids in the same year. So those are bad decisions, like the one you made when you threw the pen at the guy.
Got him.
Yes, it's bad decisions. And so now you're being upset that people are discussing your bad decisions out in front of the world to see. Now, what's going to happen now is the next time that you're accused of doing something like this, it's going to look very plausible that Cardi B, in fact, is possible of just, like I said, blowing up and throwing something at somebody or hurting somebody. And Cardi B has these situations happen to her in the past, in strip clubs or certain clubs and, throwing bottles and all this stuff. But again, all of that ties back to bad decision making. So if you don't want people to ask you questions about your personal life, simply stop making bad decisions. And this person isn't the only one to feel like that.
Now, what if these people enter that into evidence and be like, well, you see, she's a violent person. Come on, sis, you can't be falling for the bait.
So this fan is saying, Cardi, come on, you can't be falling for the bait. Let me just also address that, because being an adult like Cardi B is, people are going to stress you in life. People are going to do all sorts of things to throw you off your track. However, as an adult, it is your responsibility to choose not to react to somebody's stupidity. Just because somebody is not interacting with you in the way that you want them to, it doesn't give you the right to respond with the same level of stupidity that they are doing. I've seen many celebrities be confronted with such things in the past, and they have to make a critical decision whether they're upset or not. And almost 99% of the time, celebrities choose to just ignore this. Now, this is something that Cardi B most likely has done for the majority of her professional life as a celebrity. She has chosen to ignore all of these things a lot. But coming right out of court, in which you just basically beat a civil case against you of $24 million, and obviously you're very pregnant, and then you make this bad decision, the timing is just all the way wrong. So you're still an adult, even if your hormones are up and you're pregnant, you still have to make the right decision not to throw something at somebody who's basically trying to call you out for alleged thotting it up. Woo! And if you are thotting it up and you're a public figure and you're a lady, and you talk about it on your Instagram, or you talk about it on your Twitter spaces, and you talk about who you're sleeping with, who you're not sleeping with, people are gonna feel like they have the right to ask you those questions. And if you're a public figure, they do have the right to ask you those questions, because you're putting it out there for the world to see. Once you go live, you put it on your Twitter space, you put your relationships public, people in the paparazzi are just doing their job. They have the right to ask you that. But you don't have the right to throw stuff at them for asking those questions.
He's right, you know.
Cardi B, all I gotta say is your decisions keep getting worse. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea D. Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.